This light rail line, directly serving the city's most important railway station, was closed for years, but now it's back. So let's go for a ride. We begin at Baltimore Penn Station, the main intercity rail station. Besides MARC commuter trains, you can take Amtrak here all across the eastern United States. But if you've just arrived here by train, you'll probably want to go somewhere in the city. Well, that was the case for me a few years ago. Let me take you back to 2021.
Our hotel was downtown, so we decided to take the Baltimore Light Rail link. So here's the platforms. Let's find a ticket machine. Here's the ticket. Little embarrassing moment for me. These two really nice guys back there are like, hey, if you're waiting for the light rail, it hasn't come here since 2020. Looks like the tracks are broken up. So we're gonna go upstairs, ask for a shuttle bus. And then because of a labor shortage, they say that there's not even bus drivers to the other stop, so we'd have to walk.
So it was actually closed since 2019. And the problem wasn't necessarily the closure, it was the total lack of information. If a line is closed, you would expect that message to be displayed prominently on a website. You would expect signs at the station. Probably the platform would be closed. The ticket machines would definitely be turned off. Staff would be able to tell you why it was closed, and an alternative would be guaranteed. But for the closure of the Baltimore Light Rail Penn Station branch, none of that was true. There was little to no information available to visitors. And the weirdest part was, there was absolutely no info as to when it would reopen. Until June 13th, 2025. Suddenly, the Maryland MTA posted on their Instagram that the branch was opening Sunday, June 15th. Seriously, they announced the reopening of a branch that had been closed for almost 6 years, 2 days before it happened. But whatever, it's open now, and I decently like the Baltimore Light Rail, so now I'm here to go for a ride on some tracks that I've never been on before. But first, let's take a look at the platform. The sign by the ticket machines looks in worse shape than it did 4 years ago. There's an elevator to the light rail. It's just in a little bit of a hidden hallway. It's not a very big elevator though. Here is our train. This specific car was built in 1996. Up on the destination screen, we see it says Penn Station. This train will run from Penn Station until Camden Station. The Penn Station branch is exclusively served by trains running the Penn-Camden shuttle. Passengers needing to go anywhere else can transfer once the train joins the main light rail route. The shuttle runs every 30 minutes. The sign on the platform says that we won't leave for another 37 minutes, but I have a feeling that we're leaving in 7. These signs always seem to be wrong. Usually they're missing any trains that don't have their tracker on. Not super user-friendly. But the whole not communicating useful information, that's just kind of the theme for today.
I think that was the most frustrating part, is there was absolutely no communication that it was closed, let alone why it was closed. So initially it closed because there were operator shortages, but then they closed it again because Amtrak has been building new platforms here at Penn Station. No indication whatsoever of when it was going to reopen. Until in June 2025, suddenly they posted on social media that the light rail is opening again. For the last few minutes, it was just me and one other guy on here, but now I'm seeing some more people getting on, so.
And just like I thought, it's 5:16, we've departed, and we're now on our way through downtown to Camden Station.
Next station, University of Baltimore, Maryland.
At first, we parallel Amtrak's northeast corridor, traveling west. But soon the train climbs up onto a ramp and we curve towards the south.
This station is University of Baltimore, Maryland.
And that's it. We spent a total of 45 seconds on the branch line that has been closed for 6 years.
Please use the handrails for your safety.
This shuttle is going to go to Camden Station, and I think I'll ride it all the way till the end.
The Baltimore Light Rail link, remember it's Baltimore, we have to add the word link to everything, thanks Larry, opened in 1992, in time for the opening game of the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. Baltimore had ambitious plans for a large metro network, much like Washington, D.C., but only one line was ever built. The light rail now follows a corridor that would have been a metro line, running from north to south. Interestingly, the initial construction was entirely done without any federal funding. That way, it could be completed quicker. But this did mean that some sections were single-tracked. Later, when there was federal funding, double track was added. In 1997, the line was extended in several places, including a branch to BWI Airport. The branch to Penn Station was one of those segments that opened in 1997.
Baltimore, why do the names on the screens not match the names that are announced and on Apple Maps? Please tell me.
In 2019, the branch was initially suspended because of a severe shortage of light rail operators. While apparently it reopened very briefly, in 2022 it closed again, this time to accommodate for Amtrak's platform construction at Penn Station. Nobody knew when it would reopen. I saw speculation online that it would be until 2027, or maybe even until the Frederick Douglass Tunnel opened sometime in the 2030s. But now we know that June 15th, 2025 is when the branch reopened. And having said that, our trip is already at its end.
So I've made it to Camden Yards. That was about an 18-minute ride from Penn Station. I have to say the first thing I noticed about this train was that the inside was very clean. At least in my experience, they can be a lot dirtier. It's not like I'd eat off the floor, but it was noticeable how clean it was. The second positive thing I noticed was that there were a lot of trains going in the opposite direction. I always think of the light rail and think of really long headways, but we must have passed like 5 trains. Is that new? Baltimore people, if you know, let me know. Of course, it is the light rail. There are still issues. We traveled really slowly and just stood there for like 8 minutes, so the trip could have been even faster. But I'm glad you can finally get on the light rail from Penn Station now. 6 years is a long closure. They really should have explained more about why, as well as just have signs up, communicate better to people. But now that it's back, I'm glad because, you know, whether you can just get on the light rail inside the station or whether you have to walk a few blocks, that's going to impact a lot of people's decision. My guess is that they use 2 sets for the shuttle because it can't quite complete the journey in under 15 minutes. Anyway, I'm about to meet Lindsay here near the Inner Harbor, and we're going to go get Ekiben for the first time.
Ekiben is a Baltimore-based restaurant chain that had been recommended to me by several viewers. We got the neighborhood bird, basically a curry fried chicken sandwich, and a Philly cheesesteak egg roll and tempura broccoli. We brought it to Penn Station and ate it waiting for our train to DC. How romantic. And that's all for today. Like I said, I like the Baltimore Light Rail. I think the spur to Penn Station is very useful, not just for the connectivity, but also because it boosts frequencies through downtown. The only thing I am disappointed in is the awful communication about the closure and then the reopening. It would be good to see the agency prioritize the relationship with their riders by showing transparency and clarity. Thank you so much for watching today. Are there any transit lines that were closed for a long time where you live? As always, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. We'll see you next time.